Hello everyone and welcome to day 10 of the 2023 Roulette Rivals World Championship. It is going to be a really packed Sunday with I think currently 40 matches scheduled, hopefully all of them taking place, but also hopefully none of them scheduled at the last second. But here's the first one for sure, and it is Group F between GuLe and the buff guy. GuLe, of course, one of the OGs, one of the oldest players, player who's been playing for the longest since RR1, not necessarily age-wise or experience-wise, playing against Buff, who's a 3-time RR finalist and the defending runner-up, finishing second to Danny Buta last year. So the best place finisher who's taking place in this tournament, since of course Danny didn't come here to defend his title. GuLe, as someone who didn't play since last year's World Championship, is unseeded or I guess has no points in the seeding, and he's joined this Group F as the 6th seed. But Buff Guy himself didn't play a lot this year. He has only participated in one of the regular RRs, and that would be, just quickly checking, that would be RR10, so the first one back in February. He finished 5th there, good enough for the 2nd seed in his Group F, which is headlined by Joker J, and then sadly, after Blight's forfeit, it is Channel Reindeer, Rocky, GuLe, and the rookie Woolcat vying for the 4 spots to advance to the knockout stage. 15 seconds until we start this match, starting in Paris actually. Not necessarily the map that I associated with GuLe, but of course an OG map in 2016.
Duel starts in 10 seconds.
Adjust the volumes a little in my ears because we get GuLe's voice there. We just leave Buff B there. Of course, for the full experience, you should also listen to his commentary, which you can see out on the webcam. But here's the first spin anyway. Viktor Novikov must be eliminated with a fall accident disguised as a chef, and Diale Margolis with an injected poison disguised as a vampire magician. This probably sounds like very straightforward to an auction start spin. Make Dahlia sick as soon as possible, and then deal with Viktor Novikov from the attic, because of course he's proxied there until that happens, until you go down to that floor and exit the museum director's office. And Buff is the first one in. Will not be using the grenade there. Gets instantly searching by one of the NPCs, and that's an insta lockdown for a quick restart, but won't be really setting him back, especially because GuLe is still thinking about the spin. I just wonder if, this can always be done with a different start, though I'm not exactly sure if Tech Crew would be the one for it. Of course, you really need to deal with Viktor in the first few seconds of being on this floor, which either means a distraction here and an isolation in that corner, which GuLe will be doing. Or you can also start Chef in the locker room and make him sick through a pneumatic wallbang. That will also bring him up to the Sheik's bathroom, which will be the end point for both Buff Guy and GuLe. And then from there you can use this corridor, which GuLe is dragging Novikov just past. That's a close call there, but GuLe keeps dragging Viktor and gets away with it. So the two falling opportunities would be this, I guess, above the catwalk. Riskier, but probably faster by a few seconds, or you jack him all the way into the Sheik's balcony, halfway into his suite. That is a bit close for Buff Guy. He has on his second try made Dahlia sick, went all the way to get the free and only vampire magician disguise, and now he has free reigns in this suite, and is even going to try to grab an exit disguise. Now that's something that has changed lately, because, or at least that's been claiming, or we've been claiming that it's changed. The radio doesn't pull the Cicada bodyguard in. I do also think that that's been reliable, and now this sync will be the only one that brings someone in, at least the closer one. This Cicada is certainly blind and deaf, and doesn't have any of the 5 senses rather. So Buff Guy is just going to leave him be and get closer to Novikov that way. GuLe still with just Viktor isolated, and this will be a bit tricky for the remainder of the spin now. He has Chef Disguise, and if he can dodge the two roaming security guards, which he is doing it right now, although going through this room, which can result in more head turns and a bit more obstacles. Yeah, there's a slight whoosh there, but the tech route doesn't really put an end to that run. GuLe is not far away from dragging Victor to a fall kill spot, but I don't yet know which one that might be. Buff Guy's approach is just very simple and straightforward. The first kill down, and he's going to continue with the second isolation. He will also have to bring the chef up one floor. And of course the fact that we don't have Buffy's sound, at least not in my ear. We don't know if the Seeker did hit, but of course it did. We could hear it from Victor quietly yelling of being sick, and it might have been a peekaboo. Let's check the minimap if the guard is coming in. He does come in. Oh, that's actually Kurt. So he... Okay, I'm slightly confused now. I was going to say that he's Kurt, but no, he's just a checkpoint guard who's also a Cicada with an SMG, rather. I think Kurt also has just a pistol. Buffy the bullet distraction, it's not heard by the Sheik, so the two KOs will empty this room, and yeah, once Buffy gets the chef up here, he can have a very easy fall accident here. But GuLe is not necessarily far behind, though I don't think this is ideal. The fact that Dahlia is stuck on the balcony, and we know that GuLe started with the fireworks remote, so once GuLe distracts Dahlia, which still didn't happen right now. Ooh, that's a close push there. Could have been a peekaboo even. Buffering. I haven't dropped a single frame yet, sorry channel. It does sound like it's on your end, but hopefully it's not really. So back to GuLe's chat, he gets the Vampire Magician, and in theory it's not far away from exit, could be even closer than where Buff is, but the problem is that he didn't do anything to Dahlia. And I don't know if GuLe is going to make his way to the balcony or just waits in the Voltaire suite. But as the Vamp Magician, you are just passing outside these doors. It's even worse than a suite, rather than a suit for that matter. He's grabbing a non-trespassing disguise to bump or drop an item for Dahlia so that she's on her cycle. Because the way this is happening, Dahlia will stay there forever. And that will all but settle this map, because Buff just one KO and one moderately long drag away from getting the second kill, and I don't think he has the Sheik here anymore, but the Cicada is just as safe on exit disguise. That will be what Buff takes out of the second kill, and to leave the map and win the first map. Because Dahlia is still not moving, and GuLe also has troubles trying to distract this deaf bodyguard. At least things are equal on that side. Yeah, that's not going to happen for GuLe. And of course, even if the guard was distracted, that wouldn't be like a victory for GuLe, because he still needs to move Dahlia. He needed still for Dahlia to get to this suite. I just don't see it happen, so it's not even a photo finish this way. Buff with a 727, or rather a 609 first try, wins Paris, which was GuLe's map choice. So even away from home, like on the other player's map pick, it's a convincing first 2 points here. Definitely one of the longer spins. Definitely something that can be done quicker than 609, but that's definitely also something that...
Score 0-2.
It's not obvious to be minutes quicker than this one. the trip to get the chef up and down would always add minutes to this run. And I guess you can see how GuLe was going to do this run with a body shot and a target lockdown, which I guess at least results in green guns for the time being. And then it all goes down in flames for GuLe. Apologies for the loud sounds. And that was GuLe's side. It wasn't mine, and buff is muted, so by process of elimination it's either GuLe or the voice is in your head. Next map in a minute and a half, and yes, that was certainly so close. Cinematic ending for GuLe, that is for sure. A blaze of glory to end this first map of the day. Did want to say about the map picks that GuLe has chosen Paris, which is, I think, one of his best maps in terms of win rate.
Welcome to Colorado.
Yes, he did not play Ambrose, but from the other 18 maps, he has played Paris 5 times and won 4 times, so 80% is the best win rate he has. But look at the reason why Buff chose Colorado. It's not really the 5-4-0, 4-5-0 is how it's correctly called. A little less than 50% there, 44.4. But the fact that GuLe has played 10 Colorados in R settings, but he's yet to win one. And Buff Guy, the Big 5 enthusiast and advocate and I suppose master he is of the longer maps,
In 10 seconds.
it's going to be really hard to bet against him here on this second map, which is, or rather the second spin is, Sean Rose, Oldex as the Scarecrow, Penelope Graves, Kitchen Knife as the Militia Cook, Ezra Berg, Explosion Accident as a Explosives Specialist, and Maya Parvati Fiberwire as a Militia Spec Ops. And Yanni with his first ever respin in a long time. He got Loud Sniper no KO for Sean. and of course it's doable, everything is doable if there's at least one Firebire on the map, but it's doable in a tournament setting with a live pressure under 30 minutes, and I think that it's a more than fair restart and more than fair to keep it banned. But we're not here to talk about the conditions. GuLe can look at the conditions a bit more. I don't think he has a second monitor, so he's trying to memorize them and maybe even go to the Colorado heat maps page. And in the meantime, you can see Buff getting started on the Westbridge isolation. Maya is the only live kill, Ezra is the only accident, but both Ezra and Penelope can be KO'd in these opening moves. I imagine he will do the same. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but after the panic, or despite the panic, Buff gets the triple ISO down in the basement. And now has the timing to KO Penelope, either with a subdue or a KO, but I didn't quite understand the reason that... I mean, if I were to guess, I think he wanted to lock on with that soda cannon, he just didn't, and tried to salvage it after. I don't think it was a distraction or an attempt at any distraction. I think it was just a lack of lock on. But after its early try, they are now tied. GuLe not going with the Westbridge start, but instead starting as an explosives specialist, and he's going to gain some items, the propane flask for Ezra, the wrench to, I suppose, knock out somebody, and we can see this niche but quite handy Spec Ops grab. This one's not a Spec Ops, this one is just a soldier. The other NPC on that rooftop is the Spec Ops. GuLe loses 2 items in the meantime, and he got compromised by Sean arriving at the scene. I was gonna say that I think Sean sees these bodies, but I was implying that on his way back to the shed at the 3.5 minute mark, he would see those bodies, not at the very beginning of the spin. So Buff is back with a minute lead, and now with both Ezra and Penelope down. We will see if Ezra will be an exit kill. He will be a late kill regardless, because there's no way you can make the explosion soundproof in the tornado shelter even. But we can see if Sean will be dragged down to the basement at the 6-minute isolation. To be fair, with a Scarecrow kill, that's a very likely possibility. You can always force a kill in the shed, even in a hostile disguise, but wouldn't make as much of a sense here. I think we might just be seeing that Maya kill at 2:30, and then lots of preparation and potentially the Penelope kill before that 6-minute mark.
That is Sean Rose, terrorist turned insurgent.
Ooh, GuLe gets a bit close there, trying to get, of course, the same disguise. Disguises rather, with a bit different timing. GuLe is causing the lockdown and the lawnmower kill on on Ezra, which itself didn't. To be honest, I only saw. You guys need to help me out here, because I did see that the explosion happened and Ezra died, but was it also a non-target kill, which is why it didn't work? It was guard accident. Oh, okay. But of course there are speedruns and there are plenty of opportunities that you can make that lawnmower kill happen. We'll see if he tries again there. Yeah, thank you, I completely missed that. Because by the time I realized what happened, GuLe also headshot another guard, and I mean, that's an obvious MTK, I wasn't sure about the other one. Buff's lead increases. Doesn't quite get this isolation right the first time. And it's going to... Oh, he needs to let Maya walk because he doesn't have the fiber wire here. Luckily, the distraction takes a while, but Maya is on her way back. This could be close to a restart, needs to drop an item to delay her as much as possible. Just going to be a bump for now, and a full restart. Shoot the generator to get rid of one guard, and then throw the wrench, hoping that she's the only one in range, and I think he succeeded in that. No, she calls it in. Oh, this might be a Hail Mary attempt. There's of course this one more spot for the foliage to kill and hide Maya in, but decides to go with different targets for now. But also for this kill, as we mentioned, it's a hostile kill with an old axe. It's not necessarily one you would expect to do this in this shed. So I'm debating if this was the best choice there, but Buff will prove us right or wrong. Of course, he's the one who knows his strat the best, his approach to the spin best, and he can absolutely see. But it won't be an instant in-game time at this point, because Maya's second cycle, whenever that happens, honestly, whenever that happens, because I wanted to say it's 5:30-ish, 6 minutes, but add another 45 seconds to that because of these delays. So it won't be a quick spin, but it can still be a solid second try. Of course, he had that 1 minute trip, but barely made any difference because GuLe spent all of it in planning.
That is Penelope Graves, acclaimed.
I mean, honestly, because it's not a live kill,
Strange to see her as part of this.
all Buff needs to do now is getting here as the Scarecrow, which has happened multiple times in the past. You need to know how to get to Maya anyway. GuLe, after getting that nice kill as militia cook, gets caught trespassing by the look like the roaming guards of Penelope. Of course, they start going back to the backyard of the main house after Penelope is killed, and then they caught him trespassing. So it's another restart for GuLe. First Colorado win seems a bit distant yet again, but Buff is also distant from finishing this one, at least for 5 minutes. Just knowing how long Maya's cycle takes. But at this point, the 3 targets that can be KO'd are now KO'd. And Buff has a very solid approach to get the live kill. Buff's next move will probably be to recover this militia cook, which he secured at the very beginning of the spin, way before Maya arrived at the scene. Just a few more seconds of patience and Buff will get that cook disguise. The easiest kill of the 4, the kitchen knife into Penelope's skull.
Hey there, chef.
And then the explosion accident setup. Did not see, or maybe I did see a breaching charge in Buff's inventory, but I'm positive that either that or a remote taser is in Buff's inventory.
The damn thing doesn't fail again. Rose gets a lot of important phone calls. He gets mad as hell.
Just of course needs to make sure that the final guard is outside of the range, but of course Buff is very nicely aware of that. And gets the first kill of this run at 7:25, but that's a bit misleading because of course we see these 2 targets isolated already. As for Buff's next move, as he drops the assault rifle because it's not needed anymore for the spin, he could be thinking about transporting the Scarecrow to Sean, which is going to be his next move. He could also just wait at Maya's place, which turns out to be the right choice because Maya at 7:57 is closing in on the second cycle,
Graves is down.
or the second time that she's going to talk to the technician. Sadly, the tech disguise is... the Spec Ops disguise is in the text shed, but he has time to recover it. I don't think he's an enforcer anymore. And he can do this second try, or second cycle. GuLe gets the Penelope kill though. Kitchen knife as militia cook, and hides very nicely from those NPCs. He's kind of sandwiched there. And he's going to wait a little more. I don't want to sound negative, but there is a chance that Buff rips here because the militia soldiers are triggered there already since the old X is taken. Still green, needs to stay green until this body is hidden, and now it's all good. Of course, that's more of a problem when you want to jack her closer to the slurry pit, but you never know with those Yukons, and I think it's close anyway to a bit worried about that one, but luckily wasn't the case here. So now we are left with the Scarecrow transport to the shed, and then one more explosives specialist grab. At this point I'm mixing up the 2 players. I don't think Buff has done anything in regards of the explosive specialist, while GuLe of course has started in it. But we will see. It's of course not a tough grab. What is tough is relatively tough. It's getting there to that shed with green guns this late into the run. Another mediocre whoosh. He's sandwiched by the militia soldier. Can he take this raft? Yes, he successfully exits. I don't know about the last 2 roaming ones outside this area, but seems like Buff has made it. And gets that 3rd kill as GuLe gets a live push, and by the time I got there it was another rip there from GuLe, but Buff also restarting there. I feel so embarrassed. I was watching Buff for the last 3 minutes there, and the 3 seconds I'm not looking is when Buff rips there. I think he ran into the Enforcer because Peter says that
Baptism by fire, man. You're telling
it's related to the dots. Oh yeah, he changed to Elite Guard, and of course the Elite outside of Sean enforces the other elites. And sadly that ripped Buff, which... Well, I never like to listen to players when I'm casting and they are having restarts, because we can just think of the frustration that they have, but you can see this from the mouth movement above that he has some frustration to vent, but late rips do happen on the big 5 maps, and if he just remembers the reason that he's picked this Colorado and the fact that GuLe is yet to win here, then he just needs to keep his composure and do this spin once more, and it will be miles quicker than the previous one, because Buff will have everything for that first cycle Maya kill, and that will quite literally take 4 to 5 minutes off his spin. 2 targets isolated, now off to get the spec ops, and then into the Maya ISO. I guess ISO combined with a kill. It's very nice that these 2 NPCs line up the way they do, and this part of the spin, it's basically part of the opener now to get the spec ops or the appointment this way.
Don't hold back. It needs to get out. Just, you know, go with it. Huh?
And we can see GuLe's approach now in full. It's an emetic, it's a seeker on Penelope. It doesn't seem to usually work for drowning kills. Of course, that's why there's no drowning in Colorado, but for an isolation like this, it seems to be working wonders. There's an awful lot of NPCs around, but the kill itself is not heard. He's hidden shortly after, and despite some whooshes, he's out of the trespassing zone. That's the cleanest Penelope kill of the day so far from GuLe. And might be seeing something interesting with the explosive specialist kill for Ezra next, because last time he's ripped, it happened there at the Ezra shed, which does have a propane tank, so not necessarily needed to get a propane flask, small one there, but that's for a bit later. Buff himself will now get the fiber wire kill and sub 3 there. He's so quick, he almost even got ripped to the outside roaming guards who can peek through the holes of that fence. But that's also a much smoother second try for Buff. He gets the old X, and we will see if he rethinks the strategy of isolating Sean in the shed. That's not something that he had problems with, it was just exiting that proved him difficult. And let's see GuLe. Oh, with another NTK. I mean, that's just not nice from the game's perspective to show that very nice propane tank as a pretty sure assassination challenge, but then also put someone else in range of it. Otherwise it would have been a really nice explosion kill there from GuLe. 30 minutes and 8 seconds remaining, that's still well within the range of rip and you can try again, but once we get under 10 minutes we will have to think about the possibilities of what happens if they run out of tries. Buff with the old X, but also with the explosive specialist disguise for Sean, or at Sean, but the disguise is for Ezra. 1 chaos, 2 chaos and the brick. It's not Mumbai, so you don't have to be careful with the bricks. That takes all 3 of them down here. Enforcer is not an issue in this disguise. And thankfully no one looks through this other door as well. I think for GuLe we are just going to see the first couple of minutes repeated and then 1 kill after the other until they all start to work.
Okay, here's a scenario.
That is a pretty rough combination of NTKs, that's for sure. Of course, we started with the Lawnmower NTK with the from that vantage point at the start. Wasn't meant to be, and that's not an easy seeker shot, by the way. The first one didn't seem to hit, but I also can't hear a lot of GuLe's approach. But it did hit through the lower hole of the fence. Buff gets and grabs the militia cook and also manages to hide him. That's an important trifecta there. Could also cause some late trips there, especially in this spin where you don't just don't bring a change, so you need to take care of that body as well, but now it's been taken care of. Buff can get the second kill and the third kill at least set up. As Reaper says, Buff is definitely afraid of Sean's guard now. He will make a move once Sean is killed, I'm pretty sure. But even before that, he can be an enforcer, and he is an enforcer for elite guards. Buffy the same as before, dragging these guards out of range, and I think the only one that was outside of range is the first one, but of course wants to be even safer. And now with Penelope down, it's time to get the Scarecrow. Same route to the Technician's Shed, which now is not going to be blocked by either the Militia Cook or the I guess it's called the Pisser guy, who always goes to have a V, because he's already been hidden in that box well before the Militia Cook was there. Still need to be looking out for those yellow bars, and it's nice to see GuLe getting the isolation going, but I'm especially interested in Buff Guy getting to that shed, because this now should surely mean that the map is Buff's, if he can get this third kill now. Ooh, he's taking a different way inside. He's afraid of that explosive specialist, but turns him away nicely, and he's the only one who reacted, so he will stay turned away for a few more seconds. And once the invisible weapons are found, he also gets the old axe. 3 kills down, and that's the explosive specialist, which crucially is not going to be an enforcer, but he's still not going to leave that door. Can absolutely understand him. And well, courtesy of starting West Bridge, there are no more cameras, and Buff can just go to the, I guess, the southwest exit. Not sure how it's called on the map. And GuLe gets into combat, no non-target kill, but I think that's a fitting end there, because Buff finishes, but GuLe just gets stuck with these accidents. And Buff Guy takes the map as GuLe dies. Just like Paris, saving Colorado. So that is a 4-0 Buff Guy lead after the chosen maps. Now it's time for the mandatory 1 random map for the end of the match, and would you look at it, it's another one of the big 5, so definitely favoring Buff Guy there. It's Haven Island. That Haven Island will start in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm going to talk about the standings here for a moment, as I figure out this system with studio mode and whatnot. But here's the current standings before the end of the match, and we can virtually add 4 points to Buff Guy, who's now on 12 before Haven Island, and the guaranteed match win. Oh, of course, Buff Guy has lost to the Joker J before. but swept Channel Reindeer. So that's his current situation. I did think that he was 100% in Jade. I was wrong about that one, but Buff will take the group lead with 12 points at least. GuLe is hoping to get off the mark. 0 points from 5 maps, but still a Haven Island to go. This is now a 6-player group, sadly, with Blythe forfeiting the tournament a couple of days ago. And that will not happen fast. Sadly, it's been... I think it is official now for a day or two. I'm not sure. Pretty sure I'm not the one revealing it. Well, I hope so at least. But 4 from these 6 will advance. And we have the stats now. Oh, good reminder not to get back into this scene too late. Otherwise we get these ads, but we still get a minute to figure this one out. And they also have a minute to get ready for Haven Island. And I think Buff Guy is doing it with a peekaboo practice. But I'll talk about it more if we actually get to see it in a spin. Until then, we can see that Buff has a slightly over 50% win rate, 6 wins to 5 losses. Then GuLe has a more colorful palette there with 3 wins, 4 losses. That's close to 50%, but also 2 ties. Don't really see GuLe playing Haven in the last couple of tournaments. It was RR8 where he tied Haven to Frivolous, and 8th was last May, so 1 year and 5 months ago. So we will see how GuLe's old school strats will face up against Buff Guy's knowledge, his updated knowledge, because of course he's not only knowledgeable on all 19 maps courtesy of the Buff Guy video series, but he's also bringing us the updated version of those strats. So he will of course know about these if it's needed. But for the spin is here. Tyson Williams, Assault Rifle as boat captain. Stephen Bradley, Pistol in suite. And Ludmila Vechova, Explosion Accident as the butler. So it's definitely 3 unique disguises. The only way that you can get 2 of the suit disguises if you start in the suit. And then you also have the swimwear in the shark hut. But I think this is still... Will start spin, get Tyson down, leave with the butler, get both isolations going. You probably even want to get a propane flask from this start. Buff went past the first one, but could still get other ones on the map. Get Ludmila isolated, or maybe even a drive-by if possible here. Because the butler is of course not trespassing in public grounds. I think Buff was equipping an illegal weapon, judging by that whoosh, but still working out for him. I'm not getting anything from GuLe at the moment because he's still alt-tabbing out. Unless... No, he was muted. According to this match scene. I think that's the only obstacle with this new match scene, is that interacting works a bit differently. Buff Guy using the snail to get this isolation going. It stays green till the end. There's of course the decision whether to use the loud or the silence assault rifle. Do you bring one in or will you not? And he went the long way around to get the agents to pick up. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a silenced one, but I did not check. But I did not check the briefcase contents. Maybe we can look at it if he pauses for more than a fraction of a second. But now Buff is off to get the butler. First of course the silence pistol. That's something that you really don't need to bring it in.
That is Ludmila Vetrova, English-born former cop.
And then we'll see about the rest of the spin. Of course there's a silenced AR in there. Makes a lot of sense.
Careful with this one, 47.
So, 2 coins and 1 banana.
Hey, are you okay?
Is the recipe for 1 butler disguise. Just steals the coin from him in the last possible second. GuLe gets compromised by the Haven extended view cones. Yes, that is the resort staff from a mile away. It's a nice headshot from GuLe though. Sadly, doesn't result in any points, but a restart. Buff is making his way back. I'm thinking at this point that he's going for the propane flask. Can't really be many different things, right? Or a second banana? No, he's just going to place the AR close to Tyson. Don't quite get this move too, but of course it'll make more sense towards the end of the run. Buffy now, I think he's still on fairly decent time. He's going to be late-ish, but not too late for Steven. Not that you can't salvage it in any way. You just probably have to use a different foliage to shoot Steven from. It's of course 4:05 when he leaves. Sometimes it's been 4:15, 4:12, 4:20, sorry, when he leads the water activities hut, which is called in Hitmaps.
Should I call an ambulance?
But Buff has even better timing there, and doesn't seem like he will have any troubles getting this isolation started. One seeker on Steven. He won't have the suit here. He needs to look out for the enforcer. And with the evidence lit, that's of course a bit better to deal with it. Just checking if he's concealed, but he is concealed. It was a little bit of a scary moment for him, but still a decent seeker shot, and yeah, it's up to him if he wants to now wait for Steven and go and grab the swimwear, and he opts for the swimwear. And now this would be the perfect time to have the propane in hand, because that could have been a nice drive-by. Of course, easier said than done. But what is certainly happening is a pistol shot on this hatch to grab the Fury disguise and rush back to isolate Steven, which will be his first kill, but of course lots of preparation has been done on Tyson already. Speaking of kills and isolations, GuLe also has the Steven kill down, but he has spent time setting up Ludmila. Not exactly fully for an explosion accident, but she and her guard are both in the shark hut now safely. I think it will be heard once the propane goes off, but it's very likely exit kill here. Lockdown doesn't matter when killing Steven. Well, as long as the guard is down. Of course he was down. Buff is now done with the first kill and is looking to get the seeker on Ludmila. That is going to be an awkward timing, because at 6 minutes and 30 seconds Ludmila goes to the kitchen, and from there but she will go to the other bathroom, but also you won't have a very good angle to isolate her. Option is still there to do any sorts of drive-bys. But I mean, I keep advocating for it, but of course it requires a breaching charge, and if he doesn't have it, then of course that's not something you have to do. Buff starts with the sink. Luckily it's not illegal, it's not suspicious, no problems with that. Just going to mess with the waiter's cycle a little. And GuLe gets the off-cycle boat captain. It's not something that we've seen a lot lately, because it's been introduced quite recently. but it is certainly a nice grab. Buff just needs to get this another 2-coin setup going. His boat captain is at a different part of the cycle. And Buff just needs to make sure that the captain sees the other coin. Don't really think it will be any problems there. He's taking his time there for sure, but now he's walking, and the more the captain goes inside, the less likely someone sees him outside, and inside has never been a problem. Buff just wanted to disguise. He doesn't want to leave with it for now. It's all about just securing it for later, because Buff is now going back for the butler. And then we will see how this skill will exactly take shape. GuLe goes in ballsy, gets a small whoosh there, but not a peekaboo on the maid. And this wouldn't be a bad idea to peekaboo Tyson into his own bedroom, the one with the letter opener, the big TV. But it won't happen, and GuLe is probably waiting out the cinema cycle, which will be another minute and a half. GuLe can do these 2 KOs here. I think for safety it's better to also grab the maid. It's nice awareness there. And he will actually use the time to even hide them all. Ooh, for Buff this can be difficult, because he will start to be trespassing on the other side. Has the breaching charge. Target lockdown, still green guns. Was not spotted by the guard. No one else killed in the explosion. That's a very ballsy but very optimized kill for Ludmila. So all he is missing now is the Tyson kill. He has the assault rifle next to Tyson. He has the boat captain disguise secured here. The body was not seen ever since, so you can see how safe this one is. And now it's just the, I want to say, straightforward run to the upper floors of the villa. Of course, nothing is straightforward about that one. And it will take even longer, because I think this was the only breacher from Buff, which I think is very wise to be used on the explosion kill, but he cannot break the cinema screen now. He of course has a plan B for that, because he's dragged both Tyson and the Villa Guard next to the screen, so he can drag them over. He can grab a non-trespassing disguise and make his way around. And of course the biggest advantage is that he has a silenced AR, which means that no one will hear that grab. Boat captain has been found at last. Unless that's the butler, but I think that's more likely to be the boat captain. I cannot quite identify these NPCs by their underwear. Apologize for that. And it's a sort of close match now, because GuLe will correctly get the Tyson kill, still with green guns. And he's only missing the propane flask next to Ludmila and the butler grab. I still think that's a good 2.5 minutes from now. I think GuLe would be looking good for a 10-minute finish. But I think Buff Guy is just really close now, since there's this guy's hostile area, so it's all correct. There's the last kill, back into a Villa Guard. And I'm not sure if he has the keys or not, but actually he does have the keys now. It's just a matter of getting to that exit. GuLe will not catch up, this won't be a photo finish. But instead a solid first try from Buff, 11.5 minutes and 12.5 in terms of real time, and in terms of match score, a solid sweep there to solidify his first place in the group. GG's Buff Guy. I think GuLe would have done similar in-game time there, but the difference was of course the longer planning time. Of course this Hitmaps intermission
is Tyson Williams.
And the fact that this
CEO of
this run
a
can still rip, but hopefully it won't.
tyrant,
The score will
Williams
be
is known for his
0-6
bad
though,
temper
that's
and heavy
confirmed in a
handles.
matter of seconds now. I think Yanni will be here any second now. There's just been some happenings on the other match, but I think those will be sorted now as well, and Buff is now with the correct 6-0 score.
6.
And we can go to the brackets now, or to be exact, the group's standings. Group F, and 8 plus 6 is 14. So Buff now has a 3-point lead over Channel Reindeer and 4 ahead of Joker J. But Joker J has 1 fewer matches played, so it's at this point a two-way battle for first, with Channel looking good for third, and without Blythe, it's anyone's guess whether Vulcat, Rocky or GuLe will finish fourth. GuLe 2 matches and 0 points is not a good start, but he has 3 more matches to go. So the current situation is that we definitely have a Scarfy versus Falcon match already on the second map, and we have a Mika versus Ducker match, and I don't see a map finish there, so with the possibility of seeing more of the Mika Ducker match, we are going to raid Aphrodite. So until then, until my next cast, I would like to say thank you everyone for watching, and GG's to Buff and GuLe for playing, and until next time, see you everyone.